Good morning, everybody. I hope you're doing well. Let me just pull up my background. There we go. Welcome to Leadership with Laura. I am here every Thursday at 9 a.m. Eastern on the Diamond Factor Experience with Barbara Beckley. Today, we're going to be talking about visibility, which I think is a great subject on so many levels. And today, we're going to talk about being more visible, the top 3 things that you can do to be more visible. I'm actually going to give you more than that. But first, I want to talk about why sometimes we have a challenge being visible. So a lot of the time, let me put it this way, a year or two ago, we all had to make changes in our lives, whether we wanted them or not. And a lot of that meant becoming more visible or not, right? So that can be a difficult process if it's not something you're comfortable with doing. So, excuse me, though we may have had changes in our business, stepping up and into the spotlight a little bit more than we normally do can be an uncomfortable experience for some of us. Some of us revel in it, right? But some of us are like, no, man, I'm introverted. I don't want to do that, right? But, if we want to function and be successful in our business, we have to get into that comfort zone. So again, you're becoming uncomfortable, being comfortable with being uncomfortable. And this is actually when change and growth happen, not just for you, but for your business and your leadership. So let's talk about some tips to being more visible in your business. Now, contrary to what you might think, when you see me, you see me everywhere, I'm visible. My business has I've gone through a lot of challenges in my business, right? A lot of the time I just rather be at home, or, doing my job with nobody bugging me. But the fact of the matter is with what I do, it's high visibility and I have to keep myself out there to keep myself engaged with others and, participating in my business and my life and growing it to help others do the same. Now, a lot of the time people think I'm an extrovert, but I'm actually an extroverted introvert. So I'll give you an example. I used to, when we were getting together, when I used to train in martial arts, I would teach classes of like 100, 500 people. After the class, I would go back to the room and I would just stare at the wall for like 20 minutes just to kind of like be by myself, right? And so I could take a lot of people for a limited amount of time, but then I needed to go back and have me time where I could just go down. Like, I'm perfectly happy reading a book or doing something on my own, right? I like being around people, but a lot of the time I didn't need to. But as you become more visible and you become more popular, your business builds, your business grows, you have to be out there more. And that's just the way it is, right? So if you're not looking to build your business to that level, that's fine. But if you are, this is going to be a bit of self-growth for you. I'm going to tell you that right now. So I'm a fairly confident person. I am confident in what I know and what I can learn and how I can pass on my message. And a lot of the time when I had to step into things, it was an uncomfortable moment until I had more knowledge. And I find the way I learn is sometimes I just throw myself into things. Some people are more methodical. Some people like to learn. Some people just collaborate with others. I like to throw myself into things and see what happens. No, not everybody thinks that way. So, a lot of the time I'll just move forward with things and clean up the mess later, which is not always the smartest way to go. Right. So, when you're a solopreneur or, an entrepreneur or in small business, it can freak you out a little bit to have to be more visible. So don't let it stop you. This is just part of the self-growth. And, if you obviously are an entrepreneur for your own reasons, whether you're in corporate or not, but, really remember what your passion is, your why, what your unique value proposition, your mission, your vision, all of those things are going to drive you out of bed every single morning. I know when I wanted to win my world championship, it took me, 3-4 tries at the world champions. I went 3 times, my 4th time is when I hit it, right? But I got up every morning for that training, even if I didn't want to. And it was when the team lifted me up when I didn't want to get up those mornings. And then I did the same for them when they wanted to, right? So, things are going to come along in your life where things just get in the way, and that's okay. Your business and your growth and your visibility is like a toddler learning to walk. The first steps are are painful sometimes because you fall down all the time, but you get better at it. And, think about it. If, you're on one side of the room with the toddler who's just learning to walk, and, the person's calling them on the other side of the room to walk over there, they get up, they take a couple steps, they fall, they get back up, they may get distracted by a toy and go over here. And then, the person calls them back onto the path to go to them. So they get up and they start walking. And then maybe there's something over there that distracts them. But eventually they get over to the other person. And as they get older and as they grow, they don't think about getting up and walking. It's just something that they do, right? You and your business are like this. You're learning to walk, then you're learning to run, then you're learning to drive, then you're learning to fly, right? So you're escalating yourself all the time, right? You're up leveling, right? So for us, we need to sell our services. And if you don't like the word sell, use the word influence. Okay. But a lot of the time we worry that we're going to come across pushy and salesy, and nobody wants to be thought of like that, right? And people won't engage with us when we make an effort to put ourselves out there. So some top tips for boosting your visibility. There are so many, and I put 3 down for the title today, but I'm actually going to give you a lot more. These are key things that will help you raise your profile. So first of all is the decision, to make yourself more visible. This is pretty much, more than 50% of the battle. Once you get something in your mind and you put it into your plan and your system, and you've learned everything you need to do to get there to become the expert in your field, and that it's going to create community around what you do and make you lots more money or affect your income in a positive way, declaring intentionally to others what you're going to do is actually going to give you a lot of steam, right? Because they're going to, they're your biggest fans. They're going to support you, right? And it's amazing what accountability can do when it comes to pushing through new comfort zones. So, in the end, it's only you that makes you accountable. I mean, you can make yourself accountable to others, but in my case, I don't really care what other people think in that regard. Like, it's really got to come from within me to make it happen. I wouldn't have done a lot of things if I hadn't kind of put it out there and said, okay, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to make it happen. I could have quit, and no one would have said anything, but I would know, right? So you have to declare it for you. Okay, that's the first thing, is your intention. The second is your mindset. Your mindset is so important because it really shapes the focus of who you are and where you're going and how long it's going to take you to get there, right? If you don't work on your mindset as a business owner, everything will be much more challenging, right? You need to push through your comfort zone, and it's tough doing that when your mindset isn't in the right place. So the more you push through those comfort zones, and the braver you'll actually become, right? You'll build your confidence, you'll work on those limiting beliefs, and you'll get a strong mindset that serves you well. And we all need this, right? And the way you can do this is every day. What are your affirmations? How can I be more powerful today than I was yesterday? How can I contribute to the world today? That's a good one, because you're in the world, so is your business, right? How can my business be more powerful today and bring in more income than I can spend? How can my business contribute to other people's lives today? There are tons of affirmations that you can do. How can I be more visible with absolute ease? Okay, that's another good one. So you can go on and on. I just gave you like 5 or 6 good affirmations, plus whatever you do in the morning. So affirmations and mindset, they work together. Okay, so they team up and they allow you to sit in that success mindset, right? And be in that place all the time. And a success mindset also means that you're in a growth mindset. And a growth mindset means that you are willing to embrace change, have things show up in your life, however they show up, and be willing to receive them. So don't have a point of view about, I'm doing this today, so if I do this, I'm going to get this, right? And it's going to show up like this. It never happens that way, especially these days. So much is unpredictable, and you have to ask the questions, leave them out there, and wait for it to come back. Okay. The next tip is to get to know who your ideal client is. A lot of people talk about avatars, and I think it's great. But you really don't want to work with everybody. It's funny when I work with people and I'm working with them on their unique value proposition, which is in 4 parts. So it's, what problem do you solve? Who do you serve? What's your transformation? What are the benefits of that? And when we get to who do you serve or who is your niche, so many times people are like, it's everybody. I'm like, no, it's not. It's not everybody. You may think it's everybody, but it's not, right? So you don't want to work with everybody because then you're just kind of like blah, all over the place, right? To be more visible, I want to say this in the right way. That's why I paused there. To be more visible, you want to stand out from the crowd and you want to be different. So what is it that's unique about you? And when you do your unique value proposition, this is going to become very clear for you. So I suggest if you haven't done that, do that. If you need help with that or you'd like to work with me on that, just contact me at laura@leadershipwithlaura.com. I do it all the time for people. It's just a part of the trainings that I offer. When you get really clear on who your ideal client is, you can start to tailor what your services and content so it's relevant to them. And I'm going to give you a tip here. The longer you do what you do, the longer you are in business, the more you're going to niche down your client or who you serve, right? Your market. It just happens naturally. So once you do that, you'll have clarity and all of your marketing messages are clear. Your ideal client is clear and you'll be able to serve them in the proper way because you've gotten clear and visible on who you're serving. And so that visibility is going to show up in your marketing. It's going to show up when you talk to people. It's going to show up in every area of your business in your life, right? Because that's what you're going to start pulling in because that's what you're being visible about. Okay. 4th one, be consistent with your marketing. Okay. Once you've cracked who you want to work with, okay, and then what your messages are, you want to be consistent. So there's no point just showing up, 1 month every day and then nobody hears from you for a few months. You're kind of sort of there. When I was working in direct sales many years ago, and I had this mentor there, and it was really interesting because he's like, well, what do you want to do? Do you want to do full-time? Do you want to do part-time? Or do you want to do sometime? And he said, full-time is great if you're ready for that. Part-time is usually the way most people get started. But sometime, there are a lot of sometime people out there. And I don't waste my time on sometime people because they can't commit to what they want to do. And it's the same thing. If you're just going to be around once in a while, what's the point? If you're building your visibility, you need to be consistent on all levels, right? So whatever method you use, just keep showing up. I kept showing up and showing up. And even in those times when I felt like giving up and, back to my training days, like when I was training for the world championships, like there were so many days I was so tired. I mean, you're training so many hours a day. You just don't want to get up. You just don't want to go. You just want to rest. And you push through, right? Even in those times when you feel like giving up and, you may even have a steady client base, people that, keep connecting with people that have been following your work, that are collaborating with you, who are your biggest fans. It takes time and consistent marketing. Okay. And this is where a lot of people struggle, right? So time and consistent marketing. Okay. Number 5 is building relationships. Relationships, really relationship building is vital. It's at the cornerstone it's one of the cornerstone pillars of your business. I really feel like that, especially in today's day and age when relationships are so much more important than they used to be. You really have to take that extra time, no matter what the values are of the person you're talking to, whatever their personality is like, you need to spend more time with them to engage them. Ask them how they're doing. Everybody has been struggling these last couple of years. And when you make that extra connection to create that trusted partner relationship, that's gonna help you in your business, gain more visibility. Who knows? You may gain referrals from it. You just don't know. So all you can do is put it out there, but make sure that you're putting it out there. Okay. Business happens when people connect with you, when they can relate to you. When you start to connect with people, both online and offline, you're going to enjoy it more and get more clients. It's just that simple, right? Make it your priority to engage with people on a daily basis in online groups, face-to-face, social media, email, whatever it is. And right now, even having been so restricted this last couple of years, you just have to go and do it, right? Because if you don't, business just can't exist on a lot of levels for you. So don't expect overnight success with this. Building a referral partner network and collaborating with people, it takes time. Okay. Relationships take time to build. I wish someone had told me how long it might take, in the early days. Maybe I wouldn't have felt like giving up on occasion. But the smart thing about it is you got to know when it's not the right fit, or, when you're chasing something that's not reciprocal. So I just want to talk about this, right? A lot of the time, when I started to get busy in my business, both on the personal level and professional level, I felt a lot of the relationships, I was the one making all the effort. And these weren't new relationships. They had been relationships I'd had, personally and professionally for a long time, with friends or family. And, I started stopping making that first outreach. And it was always me. It was always me that was doing that first outreach, right? And those people didn't reciprocate, which I knew they wouldn't because I was doing all the work. So test that out. If you've got people in your circle that are like that, you have to actually ask yourself, is it worth keeping them in my circle? Is it a lot of effort? Because I know for me, it freed up a lot of my time that I could be more visible doing other things with other people that I really did want to be connected with. And those people were reciprocal. They were giving and taking. You don't want just the takers and just the givers. You want the people who know how to do both. Okay. So I would have trusted that the results keep coming, trust in the fact that the more that you connect with people and build relationships, the results will keep coming and things will show up. Whether, you keep that relationship with them and they refer you to someone else, you don't know, right? Okay. So number 6, I got to keep an eye on our time here. Number 6, pull together a visibility plan. Okay. So there are lots of great things that you can do to be more visible, and putting a plan around it is a good idea. So what do you think might be the next step up for you? That's first of all where you want to look. Could it be going, to more networking meetings, setting up a podcast show, maybe doing some chats, on Instagram or YouTube videos, Periscope, any other kind of social media channel where you can actually engage with audience, Facebook Live, whatever it is, Reels. I know those are very popular. You really want to identify what you are and aren't doing. Focus on 1 or 2 areas and start with them and do them well. So, don't go, spreading everything over all the social media channels. That's a lot of work and a lot of time. Okay. But you want to build on something slowly, right? That's going to be consistent, because really in the end, consistency is key, and that's what's going to help you win, right? And that's going to help you build. Quick one and dones just don't work anymore, and we have to be aware that that's not gonna fly. Okay. All right. Number 7. This is one of my favorites. Become the go-to expert. So, if you had problems with your eyes, would you go to your GP, your general doctor? No. They can give you generic advice. Or would you go to an ophthalmologist, an eye specialist who's an expert in that field? I know which I'd prefer, right? The same thing applies to being an expert in business. Now, I want you to think about this. A lot of people are uncomfortable with the word expert because they feel like it's the end of the road. I know it all. It's not. Being an expert means you know more about a subject than other people. That's all it is. So you have to change that around in your head. And no matter what anybody says to you, you're the one defining what expert means to you. I'm an expert in a lot of things, but I always have an empty cup to learn more. Okay. And that just makes me a better expert, makes me competent. Okay. It contributes to my expertise. So, how can you call yourself an expert when you've just started out, right? But think about this. Where did your experience come from? What is your life experience? I've been training and teaching in martial arts for over 30 years. I've been leading for over 30 years. I've been doing leadership skills for that long. I never called myself an expert until I needed it to go into my business because of what happened in the world. So yeah, I am an expert. I've been through some pretty horrible things, a lot of failures, but also a lot of great things. It's the collective life experience that makes you an expert in your business. Otherwise, you wouldn't be starting a business. People wouldn't be coming to you. People wouldn't be conversing with you. They wouldn't be interested in what you have to offer, right? So just own it, right? Just own it. It's okay. And, people are going to judge you for that, whether you say it or not. And worst of all, you're probably going to judge yourself, right? So turn that off, because that's just wasted time when you could be focusing on the positive things in your business. And really, when people judge you, it's just their point of view. It's not yours. So you can choose to take that on or not. I don't have time for it. I'm just too busy. And it's just what someone else thinks anyways, right? Now, you can spend some time, what you can do if you feel like you want to level up in your business and be more of the expert in your field, which I think is completely important and a must do. Spend some time perfecting your skills, go through books, coaching, mentoring, training. And if you don't feel ready to call yourself an expert, really start to perfect your trade. Like, what do you need to do to get there, right? Put in the work to become that expert. A lot of the time you already have those skills. You just need more to actually feel like you can put it out there. Okay. You want people to automatically think of you when they want to work with someone, because you're that go-to or, guy or gal, because you got blah, right? You do this, right? So that's kind of the tips. There's a couple more that I want to talk about here before we close off. I know we're getting late on time. The next one I want to talk about is consistency. And I kind of did refer to that there. You really do need to be showing up every day to be more visible, right? You have to. If you're not, it's going to fade away. Like, think about it this way. I have this Facebook group, and I started up for leadership. I haven't had, over the last year, I have not been taking care of that group. I've not been engaging people in that group. And I know there are a lot of people in that group, and they're just, they're just sitting there. But it's lost steam. So now I'm going to have to work twice as hard to build the steam up in that group again. Right? So don't work twice as hard. Just keep moving. It's like a train those old steam trains, right? Steam engines. You'd hear the steam start to hiss, the engine starts, the coal goes in, everything starts to move really, really slowly. You can see it starting to move out of the station, super slow, and then it just builds steam. So you are the train. You're the train moving along that track, okay? And that's what you want to be doing, when you're consistent. That's where you're going to be speeding along. So just keep doing it every single day. And know that you have the support system that you need. And if you don't, go out and get it. So let's just kind of review the 7 ones I talked about. So first of all, you got to make the decision to be more visible. Work on your mindset. Get to know who your ideal client is. Be consistent in your marketing. Sorry, I want you to see my fingers here. Build relationships. Okay. Put together a visibility plan. And become the go-to expert. And lastly, be consistent. Okay. So What action are you going to take now to boost your visibility in your business? It's time for you to stop hiding your fabulousness now and rock your visibility. The world actually needs what you have to share. And I know you don't think about it that way, but it's true, right? So that's all I have for today on being more visible in your business. I hope it contributed to you. Please reach out to me. You can check me out at leadershipwithlaura.com. My email is laura@leadershipwithlaura.com as well. Love to hear from you. And don't forget, I've got my Leadership Warriors Clubhouse group. So join the group. We're going to be having a lot of great groups in Clubhouse talking about leadership, different aspects of it, lots of guest speakers. It's going to be great. All right, so I'd like to I wish you all a great week and give you one last gift. You can go to leadershipwithlaura.com/3-day DAYLC and get my 3-day leadership challenge for absolutely free. It's on me. I want to help you build your business, build your life, and build your leadership. All right, everyone, I'll see you next week. Next week, we're going to be talking about why you should do a live. That's going to be great. I'll see you then. Take care, everyone. Bye for now.
Thank you, Laura. Miss Laura. Oh my God. I know usually, I kind of just after Laura, I do some commercials and then I just go right into one of them Vault Diamond Factor interviews that I've been doing. But today I said, okay, I'm going to be better now. I want to just, give Laura the love and all the props and let her know that I really appreciate her every Thursday. I keep telling people you need to give the flowers while they're here. You need to make sure that you tell people every day, you pick somebody and say, look, I appreciate you. I really, really appreciate you. And I appreciate Laura. And I really appreciate her because she's touching on things every Thursday that I love to do. Laura, you've been hitting it on the spot, lady. I mean, you've been talking about networking and then the social media a few weeks ago, and now you're talking about visibility, and that is my thing. That's my mission. I always tell people, I said, one of my biggest missions is to make sure, first of all, that, people understand, especially women in business, their PPD, their purpose, passion, and drive in their lives and what they do and understand who they are. And then after they do that, and I help them out with that, here and there, we figure it out. Then we jump right into, okay, now people need to see who you are. People need to see your expertise. People need to see what you do. People see what you can do for them. People need to see your value. And that's what Laura was talking about is the whole thing about visibility. And it's funny because I found a little passage. I always try to find some little positive to read so you can kind of just meditate on, just kind of just sink your teeth into it, say, that might be good for me this week. That might be good for me this morning. That might be good for me to pass it along to somebody. You never know. Utilize all the unique skills and talents you have been blessed with. Each and every one of us has a unique talent. I don't care what you say. You have a uniqueness compared to the next person. I have a uniqueness skill compared to Laura, compared to Barry, compared to Barbara Ellis, the BBs, compared to Rodney, compared to Regina, compared to Tracy, compared to anybody else that's around. We all have a different skill set, a different gift that we're gifted for. And it could just be humor. I mean, a long time when I was growing up, when I was in high school, after the bully part of that part of it, I thought that I had to entertain people. So everybody thought that I was just like the class clown. Now, usually the class clown doesn't get good grades. They kind of like, they're just the clown of the whole of the whole 4 years or whatever. But it was funny. I was different. I was the class clown, but I was getting my A's and B's because, see, I had a mother that I had to come home to that was Sergeant Beckley. And she was like, okay, if you don't get the grades, you're not living anymore. So I wouldn't be sitting here looking at you today if I was the class clown and then didn't get good grades. So I maneuvered through that. But that was a gift. Now, before I was like, I'm the class clown. I don't want to be no class clown. I'm not no clown. I was getting older. I said, what are they talking about? I'm a clown. And then I turned in my 20s and 25, and I found out that that was a gift to make people laugh in any kind of situation. And it's to the point that I would say things and didn't even know it was funny. And everybody's like, oh my God, Barbara, that's so, you're just awesome. You're funny. And I'm like, well, I wasn't really trying to tell a joke. And they're like, well, see, it became innate. It was like automatic out of me. It was just schools, like they say, just coming out of you because it was a gift that I didn't have to sit there and talk about. I didn't have to sit there and contemplate. It was just something that was coming out of me. So that was a gift. And now I use that to my advantage more so than a disadvantage by saying it's something that's bad or it's something that's like, not who am I to be this clown? No, I'm not a clown. I bring laughter around and I bring peace in a sense because when people are feeling whatever, I come in the room and they're like, Barbie, some people tell me, you just light the room. So when you come in the room, Barbie, you just light up you and your smile and then you be talking and next thing you know, everything I was thinking about before that was kind of in a negative tone or if I felt sad or whatever, I don't feel sad anymore. So, you know what? Now I'm like, hey, I'll be a clown in that sense. So you will make the most of your talents when you are not afraid to show them to the world. Many people hesitate before doing this because they have been taught it is a form of boastfulness. Pride. Do not, I'm saying this again, do not deprive the world of something it desperately needs, and that is you. That is your gift. You and your talents. There is a great deal of satisfaction to be had when you use the skills you have been blessed with. To fullness extends of your abilities. Today, allow yourself to receive the recognition you so greatly deserve, and that is the gift that you have in you. That is what you bring to the table in life. And now that I'm talking about gifts and talents and special skills and a special individual is coming, I did put that we're going to have, I didn't put the name. I just said it's going to be a special person I'm bringing up today. And they are very special to you, and they're very, very special to me. This is a gift today that I'm getting, and I'm just so honored because, see, I keep saying them and they because I don't want to say he or she because that's still keeping you in suspense saying, who is this person, Barbara? Who are they? Well, you know what? I think we'll go to a little commercial before we do that. How about that? Ta-da! All the way from France. Not France, but France. Mr. Berry, I'm putting you on mute. You taking yourself off mute. What we doing?
Oh, okay.
He said, I don't know. Boy, you lighting up the world because you just like lit behind you.
Yeah, I know. I can turn it down a little. I'm actually not in I'm actually not in Bordeaux. So, first of all, good morning to everyone. Bonjour, comment ça va? And hello, Barbara. I am still in France, but I'm still in Southwest France. I'm still in Dax because traveling Europe, one of the things, and I know yesterday I talked about just how wonderful France was and everything else. The one problem I have with France is their transportation system. I get there, getting there, the train and everything else. You have your tickets, you have your vaccination card. You have to go through all these ID, and you get on a train, and then they say, "Madame, Monsieur, please get off the train." I'm like, wait a minute, hold on a second. I'm used to getting kicked off trains in New York and Chicago, not in France. And there's first they said it was a 2 hour delay, no, 3 hour delay, and then they just said forget that. There's no train, there's no bus to Bordeaux. So I had to go back home. I'll go back to the Airbnb, and I'm going to catch basically a kind of France's version of Uber, okay, or Lyft to get to not only to get to not to get to Bordeaux, but get to a town that's close to Bordeaux, and then take a taxi to Bordeaux. Voila. Okay. So but again, traveling, if people who have not traveled a lot, you have to factor that in. No matter where you are in the world, you have to factor that in. And there's two ways to look at it. You can look at it as a problem, or you can look at it as part of the adventure. And as I always say about storytelling, the antagonist is the most important part of the story. So yes, I would have been on a train. Actually, I would have been. What time is it? Yeah, I would have been there already. But unfortunately, I have to wait, and I probably won't get there till 6, 7 o'clock this evening, something like this. But the big thing is, one, I'm still in France. Two, I get to go to one of the most beautiful cities in the world. I didn't say that. This is what I'm reading and studying about, and the people who are sponsoring me are telling me, "Oh my God, once you get to Bordeaux, everything's gonna be different." You've been to Paris, and it's like, "Yeah, this is better than Paris." I'm like, "Okay, okay." Or in France, d'accord. And then tomorrow is my birthday. 61 years on the planet, providing I make it
Wow.
through this.
Happy
61
birthday.
years on,
Happy
thank you. And
birthday.
I will be here. So again, it's about seeing your life, seeing your story, and being able to make changes when you have to make changes. So
Yes,
here I
yes,
am.
yes.
And I was planning on teaching a class. I have children, those of you who don't know, my audience, I do teach science and history, and I have students all over the world. So I was scheduled to teach a class in Beijing. So I taught half the class on the train and the other half when I came back. So
Wow.
William is what, 9 years old. So he was so excited. He was just like, "Oh my God, you're here!" I said, "No, I'm still on." And he was just when you're 9, he thought I was the Flash. He was just like, "You got there that fast?" So I was just like, "Let me just run with this." Yeah, I said, "I told you." He was like, but then he said, like my niece, "But you're old." I'm like, "It's just like it doesn't." When you get to a certain age, you're so happy to just be
Be
old,
here.
and you're
Just
like,
to be
"Thank
here.
you, thank you." So voila. And when you're in France, wine is everywhere. So just because I'm
Oh,
not
look at
in
you.
Bordeaux,
Oh,
and
see,
this wine is created from the region, and this wine was created by Empress Eugenia, who was she was the wife of Napoleon III. So
mm. See, Barry, there you go again. See, there you go again.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Life is wait. Let me get
Life,
I should be
life is
mad. Like,
good.
damn, the train didn't get here. I'm late and everything else. I'm just having life is just so hard right now. So
I
excuse the
know. I
wine,
mean,
madam.
you're just rough. You're just roughing it, Barry. I mean, it's just so
Mm.
hard out there in
Just like
front.
the Marine Corps. This is just like another day in the Marine Corps. Just literally like Gunny said, "What kind of wine you want mixing?" Let me have a nice Cabernet. Oh, well, of course, So
Well,
Um,
Barry, I want you, because I know you said you want to talk just a little bit, continue from yesterday. So I'm
mhm,
going to just take myself down for a quick minute and let
mhm.
you kind of, talk about a little bit of that. And I'll be right back.
Okay, cool. Hi, everybody. One of the things that I want, first of all, thank you for those of you who watched yesterday. I was there for hours after the show. There was a whole group of people around asking questions about gemstones and stories. And of course, the people who asked me to be here this month is just phenomenal, and got an opportunity again to go to Bordeaux. And what I want people to understand, and what my program is about, the Gem Hunter Stories, I just want people to understand how your life is a journey. This is amazing. There's some people who'll say, well, Barry is very arrogant. Let me tell you how I answer that. It- it's not about being arrogant. I know I'm not arrogant because I'm too much in shock that I am here. I have to constantly pinch myself to remind myself just how blessed I am. First of all, to just be alive. There's 700,000 people. And Fred, a good, not so much a good friend, but a Toastmaster buddy of mine, Johnny Campbell, God rest his soul, who's no longer here. He's my age. Well, he's actually 60, was 60, but we lost him due to COVID. Doing the exact same things that I'm doing, maybe not international, I don't know, but he was out there. We came up in Toastmasters together, and unfortunately, he's not here. So it's really about just taking a moment to appreciate your life. Appreciate your life. Appreciate that you're still here. And that's the thing about gemstones. I think the reason why people love gemstones so much, it's because they're here. They were here before we came. We use them as tools to celebrate our lives while we're here. And when we're gone, those gemstones are still here. Will still be here. The diamonds in my earrings or my ring or my pendant, 600 million years. They're here. So to me, gemstones can be used as a reminder of just the short time that we have here in our lives. And so the question is, what are you going to do? What are you going to do with your life? What are you going to do with your story? And part of what I want people to understand is, once you understand that your story is a part of a larger story, not only just your neighborhood or your family or your country, but the universe, what part do you play in that whole story? And once you can see your story, your life, as a part of a larger story, I just think it's more exciting. It's more empowering, because no matter how bad it is, you do have a level of control over your story, but it all starts from here. It starts from your mind. So when you begin to understand your story and the different parts, again, sound, passion, the hero, the antagonist, that obstacle that you had to overcome, or obstacles that you had to overcome, awareness, transformation, and then sound again. When you understand how those work, and every story has those elements. And once you can control those, once you can see how you control, and again, I know there's people in the audience saying, but I got bills, but I got this, but I got this. Okay, so let me help you. And as I do workshops here in France, you guys know where I was 29, 30 years ago. Dumpsters, living in abandoned buildings. And now here I'm in France, drinking a wonderful, delicious wine, and being here in front of you, teaching kids in China. That happened, of course, God, okay? But what God gave me was an understanding of that that I was more than my current situation. There's going to be lots of people who are in your way. There's going to be lots of people who doubt you. There's going to be lots of people who question who you are. And I think the most powerful thing that you can do in your life is realize who you are, which brings me back to what I always talk about, gem identification. This month, as I discussed yesterday, is opal. October is the month of opal. And when you understand opal, years ago, opal was one of the major gemstones, and then it ebbed and flowed in regards to popularity. Opal was considered a stone of good fortune and happiness. And in fact, in France, if you wore a opal, opal allowed you to have a sense of invisibility. And because which means that you can move in and out of places and then without being seen, but from that more powerful, optimistic characteristic came where opal was now a stone of bad luck. You know, if you had an opal, it was mean bad luck. So, but now that change, those stones are being seen in a different way. And the same thing with you as a person. The way you're being seen today does not dictate the way you're going to be seen tomorrow. What powers, whether it be the things I'm talking about, or Laura, or Barbara, or Regina, or any of the experts, the whole thing about the diamond factor is being able to, like a gemstone, like a diamond, put those facets together. Asking yourself the question, how do you interact with the light? My story here, again, from Toastmasters, from meeting someone from a Siegel Institute asking me. I remember the day when he said, "Hey, we'd like to have you come to France," and I was just like, "Oh my God, are you serious?" You know, and from there, 5 years of literally a superior education, graduate level education, not only where I was talking, but all the different companies and corporations that we visited during that time. I learned. And now here I am 2 years later, or whatever, how long the virus has been around, 18 months, 20 months. And here I am now in France by myself, literally creating those my own connections that will allow me to come back, that allows me to stay here. So, how did those things happen? Those things happen because I never stopped dreaming. I never stopped dreaming or imagining where I could be, what my life can become. And that's what you have to do. You have to imagine yourself you have to see yourself as that character, in your own story. What does that look like? How is your life going to resonate with people in your life, in your environment, in your world? How does your light resonate with other people? And the most important person that you have to tell a story to is to yourself. And people are going to be upset. People are going to say things, good things and bad things about you, about who you are, or the way they perceive you. And like I tell people all the time, the people who don't like me, the line forms to the left. There's a whole bunch of people that don't like me. My mama didn't particularly like me, which caused me problems for so many years. So once you understand the power that you have over your life, and that the antagonist is always going to be there, there's always going to be that obstacle. There's always going to be things that's going to hold you back, but you have to say to yourself, what are you going to do? Think about it. When people got on ships, the 15th, people from France got on ships, and from Spain and from Europe got on ships 300, 400, 500 years ago. They didn't know that the gemstone was going to be there. They didn't know exactly where it was going to be. They didn't know what they would have to do to get it. It all started from a dream. Christopher Columbus had 2 children. And one was actually, when he left in 1492, one child was, I think, like 10. The other one was 4 years old. So literally, he had to tell his wife and his mistress, because one son was from his wife, his oldest son was from his wife, the youngest son was actually from his mistress. And he had to tell them, baby, I'm going to, he didn't even say, I'm going to Bordeaux. He just said, I'm going across the ocean to find a new way to go to India or China. He didn't know what was on the other side. He just hoped and prayed and believed that his calculations, that the way he saw the earth, that he was going to get there. Once he got there, that he would find a treasure chest of diamonds and gold and emeralds and gemstones to bring back to the Spanish crown. Later today, I will be in Bordeaux. Bordeaux is supposedly one of the great cities in the world, the wine capital of the world, 6,000 vineyards. I read last night that they make something like 600 million bottles of wine each and every year. And that's where I'm going to be to experience that. A bridge. One of the first things I'm going to do is walk across a bridge. And I'll show you, I'm going to put on my, on Facebook, I'll put a lot of the pictures that I will take of, there's a bridge there with 16 different arches that Napoleon, my hero, built. So imagine being able to walk across that bridge now in 2021, a bridge that he commissioned and he was alive when that bridge was finished. Cathedrals, 11th, 12th centuries. And that's my life. Now, tomorrow I'll be 61. Hopefully, I'll live to be 62, 63, 65. But in my story, if my story ends tomorrow or next week, in my mind, as the director of my own story, I can be satisfied with that. I can yeah, I saw that. I experienced this in my life. And if you can't do it for yourself, do it for the people who are no longer here. Do it for the people who had wonderful, rich lives and they're no longer here. So if you can't do it for yourself, do it for the people that you know that if they had a wish, one wish, they would wish that they had just one more day. Just one more day to smell the air, to drink a wonderful glass of wine, to travel. And maybe because I'm getting older, less is more. Less is more. I work in the industry of breathtaking beauty, diamonds, gold, platinum. I told you, I was literally 2 weeks ago, looking at watches that were worth $1 million, $1.3 million for a Richard Mille watch. Will I ever own a watch like that? I don't know, maybe. Chances are probably not. But I appreciated holding in my hand. I appreciated being able to see it. I appreciated being the only African American in a class of 20 people. And I was the only one who was there to take that training. And my job is to literally teach other people, not only just African American children, but children of from all races, the power of storytelling. The power of being able to see your life as a story and what can happen as a result of you celebrating that story, celebrating your life. Because when you really think about it, when we watch movies, the James Bond movie is out, right? It's his last movie for Daniel Craig, the character, the man who plays James Bond. And we've seen him in so many movies. And again, remember when you know how a James Bond movie will start? And normally is, if he's not on some fast chase, but it's just beautiful, beautiful panoramic view. The camera comes in and it shows the city at the bottom, whether it be Bordeaux or Paris or Rome or whatever else. And then you see James Bond. So imagine in about 2 hours, I'm going to be sitting on a train or plane, something, and driving or flying or going into Bordeaux. Where's the difference between me and James Bond? I don't have a cool British accent, but I could just say in New York terms, New York mixing, Barry mixing, and because and maybe just have my own soundtrack in the back of my head playing. But the only difference between me and James Bond is that, he got a little cooler car. I got a Honda. Okay. So, all right, I'm working on that. All right. And again, I'm not being shot at. I'm not being chased by bad guys from all over the world. I'm having a guy coming up to me saying, Monsieur, would you, tu veux le vin? But do I want some wine? Oui. And then that's my story. That's my story. So I think if you begin to appreciate your life as a story, and the way stories are put together, whether it be movies or music or video, when you put that story together, I think your life, you will really begin to appreciate how special your life is, how special this moment is in your life. So to come back on again, I'm usually on Wednesdays, to come back on again during this trip, waiting is a dream come true. And I thank Barbara, and I thank so many people who've helped me get to this point to be able to experience all this with you. This is the birthday gift to myself, from the world back to myself. And I'm fully expecting a cake given to me by the city of Bordeaux. That's my expectation. Will it happen? Probably not. But I know, because this is France, the second I say today is my birthday, they're gonna go, oh, monsieur, congratulations. And then next thing I know, there'll be this beautiful cake. Voila. Can't hear you.
Well, we have a surprise, and it's not from Bordeaux. It's from the Diamond Factory Experience. So here it goes.
Bravo.
All the love to you. All the love.
And again, if James Bond was watching this today, he'd be like, I never get that from Q. When I come back in the Q never gives me anything. M never gives me that. So sorry, James. Some people got it and some people don't. So what can I say? C'est la vie. C'est la vie.
I am loving it. Every time I'm just loving the fact that you are enjoying life the way we should be enjoying life. Not minute, I always say second. Every second of the day, and you are taking that in, and you are you're celebrating not just for you, but for everybody, Barry. I just truly, truly thank you for bringing me on your journey. Love it.
Yeah,
love it.
Yeah, it's a wonderful thing to share with other people. Again, it's not like I'm doing it and you're not. I want people to leave my show today or whenever they're watching my show to say, really, if he can do it, I can do it. Literally, I want the haters to sit there and talk, Barry Mix, I'm so sick of it. Ask it instead of doing that, because trust me, you can't say nothing my mama didn't call me, okay, like every day. So once we get past that, then switch it and say, if he can do it, dang, what am I doing? I pay, we're both Toastmasters. We both pay the same dues. And again, what are you doing with that opportunity? The things that you've learned in nursing or medicine, teaching, and all the things that women who have juggled 6 or 7 kids at the same time, you have powers that I don't have. Mm-hmm. You have gifts, not just having a child, but just, time management. What can you do with your gifts? Your diamond, your factors to make you the gemstone that you are today. How can you use that gemstone, recognize, discover that value, and then be able to share that value with the world?
Yes. And you do that all the time. That's why, I'm just so happy celebrating your birthday month. Just I say a day, I know it's tomorrow, but you celebrate it all month because it's your birthday month.
Girl, when you 60, you get a whole month, okay? You
Well,
get a
I
whole
told
month.
you the
I
whole
will be in France this month, and to me, it's like, but of course, or in Francais, bien sûr. I mean, what? Okay, it's just I'm 60, and when you're 60, you get a month. So it's not a birthday; it's a birth month.
I
So
just said it. You had
there
a
you
whole
go.
month. Well, you know what? I feel like this, Barry. When you even get over, when you get 60 and up, you deserve to have a whole year, really. I mean, hey, you've been here. We've been here. So it's like, come on now.
Okay.
We can
Okay.
celebrate.
Yeah. So, like I tell my kids, when I teach kids history and stuff, and they go, "What about the Wright brothers?" So I was like, "I was there for that." What about Abraham Lincoln? I was there. I was there for all of that. Napoleon, how you think Napoleon, when he started doing that, that's what's like, why don't you put your hand in your jacket? He was like, yeah, that's a good idea. So I was there for all that. So I'm just going back in time. Yeah. This is the time reversal thing. I'm just going back to all the places that I was at some point in time.
Now I understand why he always has. That was you.
It was me. I don't want to say it because people be like, Barry think he did. I was there. I was right there. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
No, for some reason,
I told him not to marry Josephine. I did tell him. I was like, you know what? She's like, you really shouldn't. He was just like, I love her. I'm like, she's not right for you. There you go. Okay. When Marie Antoinette got her head cut off, she said, let him eat cake. I said, sister, you really don't want to say that and stuff. And next thing you know, I was like, okay, oops, so it's kind of like the old, like Barbara and I talk about, get to the point in your life where you say to people, what's in your wallet? Okay. What's in your wallet? What are you doing? Because we only got this much time. Literally, we have such little time. What are you doing with your time?
Mm-hmm.
Listen, Republicans, Democrats, black, white, young, old, male, gay, we all are human beings and we have a limited amount of time. And when you get older, you see people dying younger than you, or maybe a few years older than you, or your age you are, and it makes you stop and go, damn, I'm not going to live forever? For real? And you check your life contract and go, wow, yeah, forever is no way on my contract. So I got to enjoy my time today.
Today.
That's it.
Well, Barry,
but if you're blessed enough to have wonderful people like yourself, then life it's just so much better. And I've been fortunate enough. They say it takes a village to raise a child, because I'm still only 12 years old, really. So the village, including you, Barbara, the village that has helped raise me, thank you so much.
Well, I'm the child with you, so I think we're both playing in the sandbox.
There we go.
We're still learning. Well, thank you, Barry, for doing a second day of you being in France and sharing your expertise, your experience there, and just loving it. It's like you just, I feel like you're a fixture there now. It's like, okay, you're not just a visitor; you just blend in.
One last story. We've been doing this show for 11 months. And as I told people, when I do my opening, I always start out, bonjour, comment ça va? Because there's a lot of viewers that I have in France. Let me tell you, God's honest truth. As I'm sitting in the restaurant, La Cronche, I literally had people coming up to me that I didn't even know. Barry? And I'm looking around like, what? Who is this? Oh, Barry, you're here. Literally, they came to the restaurant because they subscribed to Gem Hunter Stories and they knew I was going to be there. So they met me there, or they came later. Yeah, it's like that.
Wow.
So those of you who think that I'm arrogant, got a big head, oh, I'm messed up now. I'm like, I can't even go through doors now. That hat that used to fit, the hat I had on yesterday, now it's like, I'm done now. Forget it. When I get back to Chicago, I'm going to stand there and go, excuse me, is there somebody supposed to pick me up or something? What's going on? Really? What's going on?
You're going to get back. You're going to get back to Chicago just like Cinderella. Yeah. The pumpkin, everything. Yeah. It's like, oh, well.
I mean, come on. Like, is there somebody to take my bags? Because, I mean, you do know I was hanging out with Napoleon just a month ago, right? Oh, okay. Come on. So, But it's just wonderful to be at this point in my life. I cannot express just the pure joy of just being here,
Yeah.
just being here, and just being alive at this moment in history to experience this with all of my friends and family and people I love and people have loved me long before I even loved myself. So just thank you. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you too. And I know you're going to have a fabulous time, for your birthday. And please just enjoy every minute of Barry because you totally deserve it. And drink a glass of wine for me in France.
Guys, you guys that are wine drinkers, 6,000
Yes.
vineyards. I'm going to the museum, literally the world's museum of wine is in Bordeaux. This spectacular building. I take pictures of it, and I'm starting to look at alcoholism. I'm like, you know what? Is that really a bad disease? I mean, like for real, like maybe this is no, seriously. But yeah, I'm gonna try to taste as many wines as I can. I may come back. I don't know. I know. I might, one of my shows, I might be in the vineyards crunching grapes. Who knows?
You know what popped in my head, Barry? The Lucille Ball show where they
Exactly. Yes. Yes. And I got big size 13 feet. So that will be my sales pitch. I'll tell them a story. Imagine a man 260 pounds crunching grapes with size. I mean, just thinking about I can do the work of at least 3 different people. There you go.
As you always say, Barry, finish it on what?
Voila. Voila.
Well, Barry, thank you so much again for coming on. And we'll see you next Wednesday, right?
See you next week. And next Wednesday. You know what? I don't even know where. Actually, you know what? I think I'm good. There's this little intimate restaurant, the reggae restaurant. There, I want to introduce you to that little 12-year-old boy, Yanni. I want to introduce you to Yanni, who loves Chicago, loves the Chicago Bulls. And again, I used to teach middle school, and I told him, I said, I want the world to know you. He was like, how is that supposed to happen? And then I told him, he's like, oh my God. And I said, you'll get a chance. I want the world to see you because you're going to be, he's such a cute little boy, all the hair, the suave. I mean, they start out young here being gorgeous. So I have a love-hate relationship with him. I love him as a kid. I hate him because he has all that hair. So there you go.
So we'll get to see Yanni, right?
You'll get to see Yanni, his mother, and everything else. So yeah, it's wonderful. It's wonderful. So, but thank you for giving me an opportunity. Thank you, fans, for all of you who watch. Please subscribe. I know I don't ask you to do that, but please subscribe so this way you'll know what time the show is coming on and where I'm at. And I'm always kind of let you know, like, where in the world is Carmen Sandiego? Where in the world is Barry Mixon? And that's what the concept of the Gem Hunter, to travel the world, to teach people how, not only the value of stories, but the value of, most importantly, your story, and how to tell that story and share it with the world. So,
yes. So I just put down below how you could reach the Gem Hunter. And if you need to reach out to him about stories, value, gems, just how to just talk about what you talk about, your value.
And any questions that you have, I get so many great ideas. In fact, I get so many. In fact, Crystal Waters told me yesterday. She said, Barry, last night after the show, she called me. She said, Barry, you know what I want to see? I said, what? I want to see shoes. And I thought, oh my God, that would be a great show. So I'm going to show pictures of fashion and shoes in Bordeaux. And yeah. So any questions you have, send it to Gem Hunter Stories, and I might use that as a show. So I know it's time. Au revoir. Thank you so much. Take time to discover the value of your story. Thank you, Barbara. That was very cool the way you did that.
And I'm just here to just,
I know, Barbara's just like, excuse me.
Look down there.
Yeah, right.
So with that, we're going to give one more happy birthday to Mr. Gem Hunter himself, Mr. Awesome, Tremendous, Amazing, and just a true friend to me. Thank you, Barry. We'll see you next week. Well, we'll see him during the week. You know how Barry does. He'll come on Facebook and do his thing. So, but we'll definitely see him next week. Thank you, Barry.
You're welcome. And in France, kisses, bisous, bisous on both sides. There you go. Bisous, bisous, au revoir.